All right, Steph. Well, the number of people getting the COVID-19 shot has experts optimistic that we could be turning a corner on the pandemic. But how long does that immunity last once you get the shot? Stephanie Whitfield connects the dots.
Scientists now believe immunity against coronavirus could last years if you meet a couple criteria. Let's connect the dots. Researchers have found people who recovered from COVID, then were vaccinated, could have long-lasting immunity and will probably not need booster shots. Unfortunately, the same is probably not true for people who just had the vaccine or people who recovered from COVID but aren't vaccinated. The new research is from two studies that looked at coronavirus immunity. One published in the Journal of Nature found that cells in your bone marrow remember COVID and can churn out antibodies when needed. The other found that memory B cells, an integral part of the immune system, are still going strong a year after infection. The problem with viruses is they're always changing, and those variants can evade that hard-won immunity. But according to this research, the immune response created by a previous infection and the vaccine is so strong it can fight variants. But if you just got the vaccine, you probably will need to get a booster shot sometime down the road. Connecting the dots, I'm Stephanie Whitfield, KHOU 11 News.